Hi guys. First things first. Welcome to another episode of Clangin and Bangin with Mikey, episode 157, and it's the first episode of 2024. And I don't know about y'all, but yeah, my podcast is, it's a little bare bones and whatnot. But did y'all catch that Cat Williams podcast? I mean, Cat Williams interview on Club Shay Shay's podcast. Ooh. Now, granted, I had to break it up, into like several days to watch it because it was 3 hours long. That's a lot of information, right? But I don't think he was lying. I don't think he was lying. You know, because it's like everything that he said for the most part can be fact checked. Everything that he said, especially that joke about that joke in that BET commercial, right? I'm old enough to remember that commercial. And it's like I remember watching the um, Cedric Entertainer's status and whatnot too, and it's really strange too because even on the Kings of Comedy tour, I believe the only person who wrote jokes, you know, legitimately was Bernie Mac and D.L. Hughley. Um, Cedric and Steve didn't write no jokes, you know, yeah, and it was crazy too when he brought up the Kings of Comedy, and it's like I don't know who hasn't seen the Kings of Comedy, but you guys need to see the Kings of Comedy because it's great. Hands down, Bernie Mac and Dio were the best two out of the four. Steve and Cedric weren't even funny, and the thing about it too is like Steve was the host of the show. He couldn't close his own show, and it's true. And like you go back and you look at it, he's introducing all the other comics. Yeah. And the thing when he brought up the fact about how he tried to get Bernie Mac to get off Ocean's 11 so he can jump on it, that's also 100% true. You know what I mean? It's like Bernie Mac had all this success, and it's like the thing about it, Bernie Mac was still Bernie Mac. You know, Mac was still Mac. And even in my arena where it's bodybuilding, whether in the gym, competitive, on the stage, it doesn't matter whether it's in this booth, it doesn't matter. There's always going to be people out there who are going to try to discredit you, who are going to try to make you feel less than what you are, and fuck them people. Because at the end of the day, it's your ability, it's your craft, it's your passion, it's your drive, it's your work ethic that's gonna make you stand out. That's gonna make you want, people want to come see you. But if Bernie Mac was still alive, dog, nigga, I would buy tickets on a heartbeat. It's the same way with if Michael Jackson didn't die and his tour, which came to Honolulu, Hawaii, I would buy tickets simply because I know what I'm gonna witness is gonna be magical. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be historic, and you gotta be there. Um, I remember when speaking about music, I remember when Lil Wayne came down, and this is probably like 15 years ago. Yeah, 50, almost 20 years ago. I was in college, and yeah, about 15 years ago, and everybody was like, everybody was like, yo, well, Lil Wayne's coming down, this and this and that. I'm like, all right, cool, bet, like like come holler at me when there's somebody out here that's actually worth some time, man. It's like I'm not saying Lil Wayne's not great. I just can't see myself paying, $300-400 a ticket for that, right? Now, Floetry, if Floetry came down, or if it was an Ice Cube concert, whatever it is, I would pay to see that because I know the type of, the energy and the work ethic is gonna go into that. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not saying that Wayne doesn't have that. I'm just saying it's like for me, it's like if I'm gonna spend my hard-earned money, it's gonna be on somebody who I actually want to listen to back to back. And I know I just mentioned Floetry. If anybody doesn't know who Floetry is, go look them up. Apple Music, Spotify, whatever it is. Go do yourself a favor, man, because it's like that group, man, their vocals is so rich, so powerful, so warm, and it's like you you hear them speaking a record, and it's like you can literally feel the emotion coming through the speakers. Speaking about that, I'm actually working on Scorpio Time Scorpio. I'm about 25% done with it. But anyway, I digress back to the very beginning of this podcast because I usually tell you guys what we're going to talk about, and what we're going to talk about today is baggage. Baggage meaning good, baggage meaning bad, meaning what it is, right? Everybody has baggage. It doesn't matter if you have multiple kids. It doesn't matter if you have health issues. It doesn't matter if you have psychologically traumatizing issues. And different levels of trauma they come with that, right? Key thing is that if you find somebody who's worth it and they see that you're worth it, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, they're still choosing you, and they're gonna choose you. And even if you come up with all the excuses in the book, even if you come up with everything else in the book to try to push these individuals away, I've done it. I've had it done to me. I've seen it done to other people, and it's not that the other person does not want to be with an individual. It's because they don't want to get hurt. And so when they say baggage and this and this and that, or like you could have anybody else, but or yada yada yada, like why are you choosing me? And I'm like, yo, don't like. Sometimes you gotta stop and you gotta think that it's like, yo, it's like I'm choosing you because I've had all you mentioned. I'm not choosing you because X, Y, and Z. I'm choosing you because I don't have to break shit down. I'm choosing you because you quick in your feet. I'm choosing you because you match sarcasm with my sarcasm, and my seriousness with my seriousness. My seriousness with your seriousness. Like there's so many different things that people don't realize. It's like, yo, it's like nobody, And the thing about it, man, is like outside influences shouldn't matter. They shouldn't matter what's going on with you. They shouldn't have They should not have an inside track. They should not have influence. They should not have autonomy over your situation, because at the end of the day, you're the one sleeping with these individuals, or you're the one dating these individuals, or you're the one talking to these individuals. So you should be free to do what you want to do. But keep in mind that when you're dealing with somebody who has baggage, trauma, all kinds of shit, right? And when I say that, I'm not talking about one person. I'm talking about people in general. You got to realize that sometimes when it comes to emotions, a lot of people, they sabotage something that could possibly be great simply because they don't know how to handle that, because they've never seen that. A lot of the situations I'm in when I'm talking to a lady, dating a lady, whatever it is, I am very, very headstrong. I am the type of nigga it's like, I want you to be the best version of yourself. Even if I'm not around for the end product of that, I want you to be like, damn, Mikey was actually trying to help me get better. He was actually trying to help me do X, Y, and Z. He was doing everything else in his power to help me see my worth. Because at the end of the day, we all have gifts, we all have passions, we all have things that we're put here to do that we're naturally good at. Nipsey Hussle famously once said, is like, we all have gifts, we all have passions, we all have dreams and ambitions. Then we go outside and we get influenced by the world. And it's true. Everybody has that. Everybody gets influenced by people who say they can and can't do something. Quick backstory on me. It took me 10 fucking years to get on stage. I did my first bodybuilding show at 2018. So I was on the cusp of 30. Yeah. For 10 years, I was in the gym. I was so consumed by the fact, like, oh, I can't do this because of the physical disability. I can't do this because of school. I can't do this because of work, yada, yada, yada. But in reality, man, I didn't know that I could do it because I was too scared to try. And so it took a lot of, you know, personal and professional and milestones and tragedies to actually get me to where I'm at right now. And when I say that, man, it's like bodybuilding itself has saved my life in more ways than one. You know, it's gave me a positive outlet, you know, whereas before, you know, when I was in my early 20s, I would go out there party, I would do all the dumb shit that kids are doing because that's what you do, right? And nowadays it's like, bro, I'd rather be in the gym. I'd rather work out 6, 7 days a week minimum. I mean, well, 5 days minimum. Most days is, you know, most days is five, some days is six. I'd rather do that than be at the club. Or you know, or y'all see my keyboard behind me. I'd rather do this than go out. You know what I mean? Not that I don't like human interaction, not that I don't like being social, because I do. But at the same time, it's like I'm not that type of dude that's gonna sacrifice his gift, his passion, simply because I'm too afraid to do it. You know, and speaking about music and everything too, one of my partners, he listened to the album, the Life album, and he's like, yo, he's like, I really liked it, man. He's like, it reminded me of Andre 3000, you know, like new album. He's like, it's up there in that category because it's different, you know, because he's like, when you rapping on a track, it's like you're not rapping about everyday shit that everybody else is rapping about. You're actually rapping about shit that you witnessed, shit that you've been through, shit that you saw. You know what I mean? So it's like it's some real life shit. And the one thing about me, man, is like I'm never ever not gonna be honest. I may ruffle a few feathers, I may do X, Y, and Z, but I'm never gonna sit there and lie to your face. I'm never gonna omit certain things. I'm never gonna leave certain things out to make me look better or to make you feel better. It's like no. I've been the type of dude like yo. I've told people like the reason why this shit worked out the way it worked out because you allowed it to happen. If you didn't allow it to happen, it wouldn't have happened. You know, it's like I tell I used to tell my former best friend all the time. It's like yo, you're in charge of your emotions 100% of the time. If you let somebody else dictate how you feel or how you respond to something, that means you don't lack the emotional intelligence to deal with that situation. And the fact that you want to shut down, the fact that you want to not talk about certain issues, that's not emotional intelligence. That's the opposite. That's emotional regression. I just made that word up, but basically, yeah, it's like you're regressing back to what you know because you don't know how to deal with things in a in a in a appropriate way, and it shows up. It shows up because anybody can see that. It shows up because it's not hard to figure that out. It shows up because a lot of people will sit there and be like, "Oh, I'm X, Y, and Z," you know, yada yada yada, boom, 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 boom. But when you put their feet to the fire, bruh, they can't. No, they can't last because all that shit they talked about is everything that they're not. It's not like I go out there and try to figure out what they're like or X, Y, and Z because I don't really give a fuck and I don't really care because at the end of the day, however how long it takes, the true colors will come out, and in that situation, you'll be dealing with the real person. Um, and it took me a long time to figure that out. And what I realized is that you can't sit there and expect you from the other person. You know, you can't sit there and expect you from somebody else because they ain't you, and nigga, I ain't them. And that's what it comes down to, man. It's like a lot of people want to be liked, a lot of people want to be included. I'm like, dog, it's like, yeah, I want to be liked, yeah, I want to be respected, but I'm not gonna sit there and and compromise my integrity, you know, compromise my character, you know, just to be liked by some motherfuckers who are goofy. Yeah, and I straight up tell people like, your ass is goofy, and you know it. You know, look at you. You know, it's like I find it really hard to be friends with people or to be friendly with people who are constantly complaining about their situation, but they never ever take the opportunity or the initiative, right? Or the right word is initiative, not opportunity. They never take the initiative to change it. And when the opportunity does come to change it, they're too fucking afraid to do anything about it. It's like, what are you afraid about? Like, you talked about it, you game plan for it. Now it's here, and you gotta execute that shit, and you don't want to fucking do it, bro. Shut up. You know, it's like, shut the fuck up. Because at the end of the day, man, it's like that's what it comes down to. That it comes down to you knowing what you want to do and going after it. You know, again, when it comes to what, like, I've been rapping since I was 18. I've been doing this shit since I was 18. I mean, all this setup that you guys see, you know, the piano, the studio monitors, everything set up, is that took years to get to this point. You know what I mean? That took years to cultivate a skill to, you know, to actually get better, to become better, to, you know, to understand that, you know, that you have to learn every day, that you have to, you know, you have to make time for this because it doesn't happen overnight. And I remember my very, very, very my first mixtape. It was Ghetto Recordings. It was literally a mixtape, and I was slanging that shit out of my trunk of my car in college. I think I was selling the copies for like $5 or $10 or whatever the fuck it was, right? So I gave it away to a handful of people, you know, a little extra money in my pocket. Um, but yeah, man, I'll never forget that, man, because it's like that was the first time I did something for me, and it felt good. That was the first time where I could literally take a project, and this shit wasn't mastered, it wasn't edited, like I recorded this shit off a fucking digital digital tape recorder in this very room, because that's how broke I was, you know, and everything that I did in that time span was basically geared toward this moment. You know, this moment may have came 15, 20 years later, but it's here, you know, and I look back on that, on those tracks, and on that mixtape, and I know those 5 people out there, maybe they still have a copy of it, maybe they don't, I don't know. But it's it's just something for me, man. It's like I've always loved music. I've always loved challenging myself to get better, and in a way, I try to not dial it back, but I don't want to be that loud, boisterous guy in the spot, whatever it is. It's like I'm the type of dude like I'd rather just kick it back on the wall. I'd rather just talk to my shorty, be like, "Hey, babe, like, hey, like, you fitting to leave because we got about 45 minutes in this bitch, and then before I turn into a different person." She'd be like, "All right, bet." And I think at the end of the day, man, is like you got to be comfortable with yourself, and you got to believe in your abilities to do better, to get better, because that's what it is. Um, you don't get better by just hoping and praying. You got to put in the work. You know, it's like the one thing that gravitated me towards bodybuilding is that I could physically see that. You know, I could physically see my body change. I could see my shoulders getting bigger, my biceps getting bigger, and my legs getting stronger. Which is, yeah, they were, yeah, leg day's always fun. And I think that, yeah, um, it's the same thing with music. I can see myself progressing, getting better, um, um, getting different genres into my tracks, getting different instruments into my tracks, learning the plugins that I have so I can get better at the actual mixing and production part of it too. Because I can lay a track down in 15 minutes. I can get it together in 15 minutes. Part that takes me forever is the mixing and mastering, because like I'm not well versed in that. But if you sit me in front of this computer, I can bang out a track in, like I said, 15, 20 minutes. And it may not be the most polished work, but if you're looking for something that's like quick and be like, okay, got a little kick to it, I'm your man's. And but yeah, you just gotta realize that the effort and time that you put into something says a lot more about you than anybody else's comments will ever be. Um, and it's extremely important to never lose faith in yourself. Extremely important to never lose your vision. And it's extremely important to never ever listen to the naysayers who are trying to dictate what you should do with your life. Again, keywords, your life. So live it how you want to live it, and understand that you have to you gotta accept the consequences, whether they're good or bad, whatever it is. And it's like, if you find people along the way who are gonna rock with you, keep that. But getting back to that Cat Williams interview, man, what's also crazy about that is when they brought up Kim and Kanye, and like and when Cat Williams said like, oh well, he married a whore, and Unc was like, oh man, come on, Cat, really easy. And be honestly with you, he was right. I mean, let's be real. Like, look at his track record. And he was like, oh, like, if everybody around after him is leaving her, then why is Kanye the issue? It just makes you think, because it's like, if Kanye was that bad, wouldn't she be able to keep a man? Wouldn't she, why would she be bouncing from man to man? Think about that. Keep game. Alright, y'all. This is about 22 minutes of your life that y'all won't get back. Hope y'all keeping full peace, private play, positive pushing. I see y'all next week Sunday. I love y'all. And like I always say, know your worth, because you're better than what you are. Peace.